everyone. Welcome to Tales from the Tips. I'm DA with 15-year Tour Caddy Mick Middlemo. We're just a couple of guys that love to talk about the game of golf, both inside and outside the ropes, but we come at it from a different perspective. Mick?
Yes, sir.
USA! 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 That's right.
Blah, blah. You won't be doing that all through the tournament, I tell you right now. You beat a little country of 28 million people, and look how excited you get.
The country has gone nuts over something they call soccer.
Yeah, don't get used to it. You guys won't make it out of the next round. Won't even make it out of the next round.
Hey, I'm telling you, USA Soccer sweeping the country by storm. It's you can't buy a jersey, kit, whatever you call it, anywhere around here. National pride is up. Mick, how does it feel for your second country to have beat your first country?
Yeah, it was a little disappointing. I didn't see it because it was on at 5 o'clock in the morning over here, so there was no getting out of bed to watch soccer at 5 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't care who was playing. Wasn't happening. I woke up, saw the result, read my text messages from my friends, and then went back to bed.
So wait, you didn't get up middle of the night, go to the pub to cheer on Team Australia?
Zero chance.
Okay. Mick, I got to be honest with you.
2 o'clock in the afternoon when we beat Turkey, I was watching that game, but no, there's no getting out of bed at 5 a.m. to watch soccer.
The only match I have watched was the one between USA and Australia, and it's only because selfishly, you and I have rooting interests in it, and other than that, I have not fallen to the bandwagon
Hopefully this recording is going well because you seem to be breaking up on me a little bit.
Well, it seems to be going okay. We are having some in and out issues, so to speak.
Technical difficulties here, traveling from all over the world.
We've got some rough weather rolling through the area. Mick, I got to ask you, did you see it coming? 2-time champion Wyndham Clark.
Well, obviously I did because on the gambling side of things, he was $41 to win, so I had a lazy $10 on him to win at $41, so I collected my $410 when he won. But, I took a few others too. I had 4 bets. He was one of them because I thought those odds were very generous for a man that was playing very well coming into the US Open. And obviously has played well in those conditions before because he had won one. Wasn't very much of a crowd favourite, I noticed.
He certainly wasn't. We are going to talk about the fan behavior. Once again, the state of New York on the wrong side of good sportsmanship. Mick, we will also talk about the 2 low-amateurs, Jackson Coivan and Ryder Cowen. Impressive display of some golf by some young guys. Mick, I'm also going to take you back to when you were here in the States, and you and I were watching a little bit of On the Range, and you noticed something in world number 1 swing, and you commented on it, and it played again this weekend. So we're going to touch on that. And then we take a quick look at this week's final Signature Series event, the Travelers. I know you love Cromwell, Connecticut, so we'll take a look at TPC up there. And you know what? Let's get this thing started.
Let's get it rolling. Ready.
Let's grip it and rip it. Okay, so where do you want to start? Do you want to start with the USGA setup of the golf course? Because that's always a fun, hot topic, hot take about US Open.
Not really, because it's the same comment every year.
It is. Now, I'm going to ask you, do you feel the same way after this year's Open comparably to other years?
It was probably a little tough at times, especially with the way the wind was blowing in and stuff like that. And they had tough pins, and obviously those greens are very, very slopey, very, very quick. Obviously, yeah. Again, I think they go a little overboard with their setups on those golf courses, but that's the way they like to do it. They're never going to change. That's their mantra. That's what they like to do at US Opens, and they're probably disappointed that that someone under par won it. I'm sure, because I don't think they set their courses up for that to happen. But all power to the players who finished under par. I mean, obviously, very, very difficult conditions, difficult golf course. They did well.
Yeah, 3 players under par. Obviously, Wyndham wins at -4, Sam Burns -3, and Tom Kim -1. JT Poston with a really good final round.
Yes.
JT going 71, 71, 71, 67 to give himself a chance to a pretty costly little bogey putt there.
I think when you start the tournament with a 64, it sets you off on a good plane to have a good week.
Yeah, and that's really where I want to go. My opinion on it. You know what? We've heard and we saw, Phil's meltdown at Shinnecock a few years ago. We've seen all sorts of things. They've lost that golf course a couple times there because of the winds and trying to keep it so tight and tough. I actually thought the golf course played really well. I thought the golf course played fair given the wind conditions. I thought the USGA did a nice job of giving the opportunities, if you hit quality golf shots, to make at least a couple of chances for some putts. Where you lose me with that setup is around the greens when you have those bunkers so tight up against those greens and then you shave those collars all the way down to basically putting green, what you and I would normally be putting on. And that ball just rolls right into them. I think if you had some of the rough there where you've got it's hard to put the back of your putter behind the ball if it's laying up against that collar. I think there are some things there that you could have made some adjustments. I just think quality ball striking played out, and no else was it more evident than on 16 on Saturday from 270 out. Wyndham Clark's 3-wood into 16 to 3.5 feet for eagle. That was borderline. That could have been disastrous. That if that thing kicks right, that thing's in the bunker. If that thing kicks left the way it did, it's pin high, and it's basically a tap in for him. So,
well, yeah, it was probably a fair putting display too, by the way, apart from the 3 putt he had on 17. But I mean, his putting was frighteningly good.
Yeah, we're going to get into some of it. I heard some discussion today on Golf Talk. There, most of the rage is about the fan behavior, and we're going to touch on that. But there's a couple times, and I'll use the example of 17 on Saturday. Wyndham double crosses himself after making that eagle, and he's up against a camera stand, and he gets free relief, and basically got to drop in one of the and literally places the ball in one of the best positions possible, and chips it on and makes par. You and I are playing that golf course on a regular Tuesday. You and I are fishing for a ball in some pretty nasty stuff, and we're not getting free relief.
Fact. Well, I've seen that many times. Camera stands get in the way. Things get in the way when they set them up, and they are the rules. But yeah, I've seen some dodgy. I've seen some dodgy rulings where players have gone, yeah, so that's definitely in my way, and rules officials have been soft, have come along, gone, yeah, you're right, and get dropped from it. But unfortunately, that's part and parcel of when you set golf courses up with camera stands everywhere and things like that. It happens.
Yeah, and I understand. I mean, you're no different than your stanchions and your seating and all that stuff. I mean, obviously, it's a different setup than what you and I would normally play if we were members out at Shinnecock. Now, you and I collectively combined couldn't afford a month's rent out there. But
good. I wouldn't want to play there anyway.
Wow. Didn't you wouldn't want to play Shinnecock?
Nah. What's the point? We're going out and torture myself. I have enough trouble at a muni golf course without going there and torturing myself. I've played some hard golf courses in my time. Everyone go, oh, they're great. Oh, it's a beautiful golf course. Yeah, just go around and have the golf course beat my brains in all day. It's great fun. Good times.
So let's go. Let's move over. Wyndham Clark, obviously, as you mentioned, gets off to a fantastic start on Thursday, and then basically holds on for dear life. And everybody else plays normal U.S. Open golf, and at the end of the day, a strict 6-stroke lead going into Sunday allows him to win by 1. So, Mick, I know time differences don't allow you to sit there and watch the Open kind of the way I did. What were some of the takeaways, though, from Wyndham's rounds that you saw? And also, I mean, going into it, he's been playing some pretty good golf. I mean, he won the CJ.
He's been playing great golf.
Yeah.
He's been playing great golf coming into it. And I think that's why I took the odds of him winning the tournament, because he had been playing great. I thought Sam Burns' round on Sunday was phenomenal. Very unlucky. He hit a great putt on 18 that could have easily gone in and really put some extra pressure on. But, yeah, I mean, he did what he had to do. I mean, he just hung on. I mean, the thing about it, if you think to yourself, well, I've got a 6-7 shot lead, you shoot even par, you should win. Because it's very hard for people to come from behind, because it's very rare that someone's going to shoot 6 or 7 under on the final round of the US Open to come and catch you. So it was his to lose. But having said that, Sam Burns played, a great round of golf, got very, very close to him. But I think he did exactly what he had to do. I mean, he wasn't going to go out and try to make a million birdies. He just had to try to get himself around that golf course and not really do any damage, and he would have been good enough to win, and he was.
I thought he and his new caddy, Dave, I can't even pronounce his last name. Big Wave Dave, as they like to refer to him on the broadcast. Obviously Wyndham and longtime caddy Jim Ellis parted ways earlier this year after, I believe it was right after the Players, and Wyndham made a couple of changes, made a putter change. By the way, did you hear he is a sponsored player by Ping? Ping doesn't normally do sponsorships. That Ping putter that he was using was new recently. But I think the way he and Dave managed their way around the golf course, it looked like they were two guys that have been together for years, Mick.
Yeah, very, very much in sync. And obviously Dave has been around a while, and he knows what he's doing on the bag, and you know that you just don't have to do anything crazy out there. And sometimes that's the hard part, where you're not trying to make a birdie every hole. You're just trying to get it around, and I think they did a great job. They worked well together, and they did everything they needed to do in that last round.
Yeah, and I'll say, listen, you don't just get around the golf course without having to make some putts. And I think every time he was pressed to make a putt of any significant length, whether it's a 4.5, 5 footer, and before anybody here sits there and says, oh, it's only a 4.5 or 5 footer, you go sit down on your driveway sloping down, and
yes,
you go touch your putt and see what happens. I guarantee you don't even touch a cup, let alone make every single one of them. He just putted his ball really well.
He putted beautifully. He really did. He held some really, really pressure putts, and without his putter being as hot as it was, he wouldn't have been winning that tournament. But yeah, that's all part of the game, and that's what he did. He putted beautifully.
Yeah, and I think one of the points, he really wasn't pressured by the guy in the group with him. I think had Scotty gotten off to a better start, there could have been some pressure, especially there on 5 when he chipped it up and it rolled right back to his feet. He got lucky on the next one to chip it back up there. He looked like he was trying to chip it back into that hill, and he actually missed the hill, and it still stopped and stayed on that green. I think had Scotty been dialed in a little bit more, I think this would have been a different golf tournament. And it was interesting because our good friend Chris and I were texting Fortney, and he said do you think Wyndham gets it done on Sunday? And I said, it's his to lose, kind of what you just said, but it would be one of the biggest chokes of all time in a major if he doesn't. And he goes, what about, how would it compare to Jean Van de Velde? Mick, what would you say?
I wouldn't have compared it to Johnny Vanderbilt. That was a one-hole meltdown. I probably would have compared it to Greg Norman in the Masters.
Yeah, because it's the 6-stroke lead.
Yeah, where he definitely choked it away. Wyndham never looked like he was choking. He never looked like he was choking it away by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, it's a hard golf course, and there's a few bogeys out there, and Sam was pressing him and along the way, and even Tom Kim got a little run on there for a little while, and so it's and even Scotty was only 4 back at one stage. So when he made a birdie, and that's just, I think he handled himself beautifully to win the tournament.
Yeah,
he did exactly everything he needed to.
Tom Kim cost himself any chance the first couple holes of the final round. I mean,
he blew it.
1 or 2, and he just wasn't even close. I mean, it looked like he had forgotten. I think he was still celebrating his 24th birthday. It was one of those things that you watched, and it could have been a snoozer. I'm glad for all of us that were able to watch as much of the golf as we could. It was close, and that you actually had a storyline, especially even coming down to 18. I mean, had he not lagged, 52-footer. I mean, that's give me.
How good was that leg putt?
Yeah, you could really make a mess out of that from 52 feet. So, good for Wyndham Clark. Glad, redemption. I think a little bit of a redemption after last year's meltdown at Oakmont. We heard a lot about his, that behavior, and speaking of behavior, let's talk about the fans. This is within 6 months of each other, well, almost 8 months of each other. You've had fan behavior out of the state of New York that is just disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fact.
I just, when you openly are rooting for a guy's ball to go into a trap or to go into a hazard area or a waste area, you have no business being on a golf course, let alone having a credential to be that close to a player.
Well, they should be removed as soon as it happens. And if they don't have enough security or people in the crowd spotting these idiots, then this is just gonna keep happening until they really, really put their foot down and go, well, we're not dealing with this anymore. We're going to load the crowd up with these people who have the authority to kick people out of the golf tournament. It's just going to keep happening. It's never going to stop. Those fans are, and I'm not going to say all of them. Obviously, it'd be rude to tarnish every fan who goes out there and stuff like that. But these fans, the ones are there are simply obnoxious, and they're there that cause disruption. And the fact that they are allowed to stay on the golf course so they don't get kicked out is that's shame on the USGA and people at Shinnecock.
Yeah, it's here's this is when I get to the point where I'm at max. When my wife, who knows very little about the game of golf, knows how much I love it, knows how much I pay attention to it and everything. But when her comment to me is, why is everybody talking about what happened to Wyndham yesterday? What happened? And she's asking me like, as a casual fan, like, was it really that bad? And I'm like, yeah, it was that bad.
Yeah, it was. And the fact that he won the tournament and handled himself all the way through it was more power to him again.
Yeah, I think he handled himself beautifully. I know that there was some conversations. I believe it was him and Dave they were laughing and making jokes about it. Maybe, like what, I think they probably were having some side bets on their own. Like, what comment are we going to hear next? How many
that's the only way you can do it.
We're going to get,
that's the only way. That's the only way you can handle it. That's the only way you can do it. You can't get to you. Otherwise he would have lost by 4 shots.
Yeah.
They handled it.
I honestly, I think, part of it though, yeah, you have a rooting interest for Scotty. You have an opportunity to watch history being made, another guy completing the career Grand Slam. You've got, um, it would be a historic collapse, again, in a major for a player to lose that type of lead. And you need kind of something to get excited about going out there. I mean, so it's not a lot of fun watching a team just go out there and trounce another team. I got to witness that at the Ryder Cup at Oakland Hills. Team Europe on Sunday, basically that was a coronation of the cup. That thing was almost over before the first groups got to
Before they
nine.
get teed off, yes. Facts.
It's just not fun, as a fan. So, I understand a little bit. I mean, I understand cheering for guys, and cheering for Scotty and cheering for Sam Burns. But I mean, Wyndham Clark's an American last time I checked too.
Yeah.
It's easier to cheer for maybe against a foreign player, but and like they did, with Brian Harmon over at the Open Championship, there was some crude stuff being said to Brian, but I think Brian got lucky because of the weather. I mean, no one wanted to stand out there in that pouring rain when he was out there winning the Open Championship. So,
And the crowds looked very down at this tournament too, by the way.
Well, Mick, it's hard to get out to the Hamptons. You and I, that's a long train ride, and it's not very affordable to go out there, Mick.
No. Oh, I know. But it was a very, no, it didn't look like a very big crowd there on the Sunday either. So.
I was, but I'll give credit to the USGA. They let a lot of money go away without building a bunch of corporate hospitality. It was open. You could see a lot of the golf. I think if you were out there, you probably had an enjoyable time being able to move around the golf course. That being said, I'd be happy that the state of New York doesn't get another major tournament for quite a while.
Agreed.
It's just one of those things. And yeah, you're right. Not every New York Met golfer deserves that kind of punishment. There's some great golfers that come out of the Met. There's some great folks there in the New York tri-state area. But until these major tournaments get to the point like the Masters where they ban these things so you don't become an instant social media superstar because of something you did or said, and it gets picked up by microphones and everything else, I think we're just going to keep seeing this kind of behavior, and it's a shame.
It is a shame, but I guess we've spent too much time giving the idiots their credit, so.
Well, we won't call them out by name. They're just a bunch of idiots. Let's talk about, what I wanted to really talk about. Ryder Cowen, one of the co-leaders there for a little while there on Thursday, amateur, and Jackson Coivan tied for low amateur. Jackson Coivan, quite a month, Mick. You go out and you get your second of second NCAA championship in 3 years. You already have a tour card in your back pocket. Your player of the year out on the NCAA. And by the way, then you go out and you compete in your last final event as an amateur and you tie for low am.
Little 68 on the Sunday too. Very nice.
Little 68 on a Sunday. Really nice for Jackson Coivan. Ryder Cowen. The game of golf is heading in such a, we made such a big deal about LIV and all these good players going over to LIV. The game of golf is in such a good spot. You see some of these young kids that from Europe that are playing. You just look at a kid like Ludwig Oberg, and he's still a kid. I mean, these guys that are just coming out of college, 20 some years old, they're ready to go PGA Tour now. And US Open. I mean, you got two AMs that were right there in the hunt.
They shot 5 over. I mean, they tied 23rd in the US Open. I mean, that's as hard as it gets. So these boys have got some game, no doubt. They've got plenty of game.
Mick, we got to find you a bag for one of these kids.
No, I'm too old to walk in golf courses now.
You're not too old. Did you see some of the caddies out there?
Oh, no, I know.
Tom
Some of them are in a fair age.
You're probably younger than Tom Kim's caddy.
I'm very, very happy to be where I am at the moment.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more.
You are happy. Okay. Last thing I want to do, touching on Ryder Cup, but it's really has to do with Scotty Scheffler. His off game is good enough to put him in fourth. And then in the final group on a Sunday.
Yes.
What do you think is ailing Scotty Scheffler? Because there were some shots, and I'll go to one in particular. Number one, that second shot into the green again. Mick, I'm splitting hairs here. I mean, I think he probably missed that shot by about a yard, if not. But vintage Scotty Scheffler, that ball stops and spins back towards the hole. This one bounds over the green, and now he's basically in jail, getting trying to get up and down for bogey.
That was bounding over the green. That was a big mistake.
Yeah,
but I think Scotty's pressing a little hard now, and golf is a hard enough game as it is if you start really, really pressing. He's not finding the things that he did when he was at the top of his game. Obviously, when I was watching him on the range, and I can't remember what tournament it was when they were struggling with his downswing, I still think he's having trouble with that. I still think he's having trouble slotting the club where he wants to on the downswing. I think that's caused his issues over the past probably 2 months now, where he hasn't won. And I still think that's haunting him a little bit. But he looks like he's pressing more on the golf course than he did. He's showing a lot more frustration. You can see it in his face. You can see it in his body language that he's been frustrated by not getting the results that he was. And I think he's really, really pushing himself harder and harder and harder. And sometimes when you push yourself in that direction, the game becomes even a little more difficult. And, he's not getting results. He's not, he's very Tiger-ish. He's not out there to, collect a $960,000 paycheck, which he did for his finish this week, which is great. He made $1 million. That's not what he wants. He wants that US Open trophy. He wants the trophies, and that's what he's about. And he's pressing a little bit at the moment, and he seems to be struggling. Him and Teddy sometimes don't seem to be on the same page. And so I think there's just a little frustration in the way. Obviously, he's too good of a player for this to keep going, and I think he will get out of the little funk he's in. I mean, obviously when I say he's a funk, he's finished 3 seconds and a fourth and stuff like that, but he's not winning, and he wants to win. And he's just a little off at the moment, and I think when he's putting a little bit too much pressure on himself, and as I said, you can see it in his body language, you can see it in the way him and Teddy are working together. There's frustration. I don't think it'll pass. There is no doubt. I think he'll come back and win very, very soon. I just think there's a lot of frustration in his golf game at the moment.
Do you see him winning this week at the Travelers?
No. Tommy Fleetwood.
Fleetwood.
Little redemption.
Redemption Tommy for this upcoming week.
That's what I've given you.
Is that your pick, Tommy Fleetwood?
That's my pick, Tommy Fleetwood this week. Little redemption from last year where he kind of screwed up on 18, and
I'm liking the way that that Brian Harmon's been playing. That course for the Travelers gives it a little bit, but I'm going with a different Georgia Bulldog. I'm going with Harris English this year.
Harris English?
Yeah.
Hold, please.
Yes.
Wow. Out of nowhere.
I just, he's been too quiet for too long. I think TPC River Highlands will suit his game well, and so
great golf course. One of my favorite golf courses on tour.
It is, and that's so we go to our final signature event of the season, the Travelers up in Cromwell, Connecticut. Mick, they talk about moving this tournament closer to the Boston area for next year. I don't
hope
see
not.
Cromwell losing the Travelers, but what do you like about this golf course?
Finishing holes are awesome. Awesome. 15, drivable par 4. Just great golf hole. Really is. I mean, you hit it left, you're in the water. But it gives you a chance. 16's a tough par 3. 17's a really tough tee shot. And then you've got to come across the water again, so you've got to get your angles right and everything like that. So, and then, of course, 18's just like a theatre with everybody standing, sitting around the hill there at 18. It's just and the fans there are really, really good fans. I hope they don't get into this let's get on TikTok moment like everybody else does at the minute. But great fans, great golf course. It really is.
So speaking of TikTok videos, there was one thing that I wanted to bring back up. You had sent me a video, and I hate to bring this back up about Wyndham. Mick, you showed me a video, and I guess there's a lot of caddies up in arms right now. Practice swing, I believe it was on number 5 or no, number 9,
I think it was number 9.
So he takes a couple of practice swings. He's in the long fescue. Then he looks like he steps across his ball to take another practice swing. And then he takes a step back and he takes a practice swing. And then he gets up to address the ball. Mick, what are some of the caddies out there saying?
It was pretty contentious and pretty hot on Facebook actually, and TikTok and stuff like that. That it looked like he had taken a couple of practice swings and then for some reason looked like he stepped behind his ball and then took a practice swing on the other side of his ball and then came back and hit the shot. There are people suggesting that he may have taken that step to flatten some grass down that could have been close to behind his ball. I've looked at the video a few times. It's a very, very weird movement that he made to make that step over the ball to take a practice swing. It made no sense to me that why he would do that, and I hadn't seen him do it any time else. It looked a little weird. Again, there's not enough evidence to suggest that he flattened the grass down behind the ball, but there's a lot of caddies out there who are suggesting that that's something maybe that he was trying to take advantage of.
So I would ask you, why would a player make that
why
motion?
would he step over like that? I don't know. I've never seen it before. I've never seen a player do it before. I don't know what his thought was to take a practice swing over the other side of the ball, and it wasn't really a practice swing. He kind of just one-footed towards where his ball was, took a swipe at some grass, and then went back to where his original position was. To me, it made no sense why he would do that. Again, I'm not going to cast aspersions, but it was a very, very interesting turn of events for what he did there. And again, I'm going to go look at it again and again and again. And yeah, it was a very interesting move. I've never seen it before. I've never had a player do that before.
Well, I mean, you're risking stepping on your ball. 2, you're risking, if you do step behind it like that, moving your ball. I just don't see what benefit would be there. Maybe the grass looked more like with what he was going to have to try to hit out of. I don't know.
But he only took one. The problem is he only took one swipe. I mean, he didn't set himself and then, take a proper practice swing. He just sort of leaned over his ball, took one swipe of the grass and then went back to where his original position was. It was very, very unusual. Put it that way. I'm surprised no one's really brought it up.
Surprised.
Maybe I'll send it to John Boy Media and he can dissect it.
There you go. Okay, so we've got one of the other guys I wanted to look at the Travelers, Tom Kim. Tom Kim has played well there a couple of years ago. Him and Scotty in the playoff there. I wouldn't be surprised if Scotty gets it done. I think he is. I do agree with you. I think he's pressing a little bit. I think a tournament like the Travelers, where there's not a lot at stake except maybe just a get yourself right type of tournament before you play the next time is the Open. Could be the way Scotty goes, but keep an eye on Tom Kim. Mick,
Yes, sir.
what are the plans for the week?
Work, my friend. I'll be working. I switched to night shift tomorrow night, so I'll be working night shift for the rest of the week.
We and we apologize to our listeners. We've had a little awkward listening schedule on and off. I was ill last week, so I'm still recovering, as you can probably hear my nasally, congestive voice. So we're going to get back to it at probably on a more consistent basis. I know you keep bouncing your work schedule around. I'm wrapping up summer swim team duties this week, and we'll watch the Travelers and the John Deere.
Yes, we were.
And then we
Moline, Illinois.
Moline, Illinois, the Quad Cities. So
The home of longtime caddy Tony Navarro.
There you go. Yes, you told that story last year. We'll bring that one.
He
back.
lives there. Yeah, he lives there. Don't know why, but
anything else that you have for our listeners?
no, sir. I'm getting ready to go back to bed. It is 9:30 in the morning, but 9:48 in the morning, and I'll be going back to bed to get my body ready for night shift.
You go get yourself ready for bed. I've got to get myself ready for tomorrow's final home swim meet, and we've got World Cup stuff going on this week, so fun times here. So what we'll do, Mick, we'll get together next week. We'll recap the Travelers. We'll preview the John Deere and anything else. And if we get any more information of the magical step across the ball from Wyndham, we'll say breaking news by Mick. First, before we get out of here, I want to say happy belated Father's Day to all you dads out there. Mick, take good care of yours. I know yesterday was a little bit of a tough one for me, missing mine for the first time.
Yeah, sir.
But
it's not actually Father's Day here in Australia. Father's Day's in September.
Yeah, you got to wait a few, but it does. Don't wait. That's my message to everybody. Don't wait. Make sure you stay close to your dad. So
I'm sure your girls gave you a nice spoiling yesterday.
They took good care of me, Mick. Mick, I have to say I commandeered the TV all weekend. I had Friday off, so we watched World Cup match, and then Saturday I had the TV on from about 1:00 in the afternoon till 8:00 in the evening, and then yesterday had it on until we went for dinner, and then when we got back, we got to watch Wyndham basically putt it out and win the 126th U.S. Open. Congratulations to Wyndham Clark.
Beautiful day.
Thanks for teeing it up with us on Tales from the Tips. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure you give us a like, hit that subscribe button, drop us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. You can find Tales from the Tips wherever you find your favorite podcast. Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and now on iHeart Podcast. Just search for Tales from the Tips under podcast. Hit the plus button, subscribe, and enjoy. Mick?
Yes, sir.
You can find us on all the socials, Instagram, X, and your favorite?
TikTok, baby.
TikTok is where it's at. You can find Wyndham stepping across his ball on the TikTok. And, of course, you can watch this show live on the Twitch and now on YouTube Live. Thanks to all those that are on there. Yes, Chris, I saw your message, and no, I will not say it. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week as we tee it up on Tales from the Tips. Make sure you keep your drive straight, your putt short, and your scores low. We're out of here.